right, and welcome to this edition of EMU Today TV. My name is Mark Esley. I'm your host, and we enjoy doing this each and every single month, where we give you the latest and greatest happenings around the great university, the Eastern Michigan University. So sit back and relax to enjoy the conversation. And we have a very special guest, as all the guests are very special, but Decky Alexander, and she is the theater professor and director of Engage at EMU. Decky, so good seeing you again. Thanks for joining me. How are you?
Always lovely to see you. Yes, all of you and also half of you. Yes, lovely always. Both
All
and
right,
both and.
absolutely. So we're going to do spend some time. We're going to have you for a little bit longer today. The first part of our
Sure.
conversation certainly will be focused on engage at EMU. Then we'll spend some time after the break talking about another topic, the Center for Jewish Studies as well. So let's start right up front with engage at EMU. I know there's a major announcement which we'll get to in a moment, but just give us an overview, if you could, of
Yeah.
engage at EMU.
So I like to equate the office and the creation of Engage with me getting married. And I don't know if it's similar, but they've been around for both for 10 years and they're both doing well. So that's really good.
All right.
So that's good. But the Office of Engage at EMU was kind of so we have kind of an audit, which we'll get to in a little bit, that kind of is a self-study of our engagement efforts. And it's a national sort of, Carnegie sort of acknowledgement. And it shows us our assets and our gaps. And when we received a recognition in 2015 or a little bit before that, we really realized that we needed to rebuild a center here. We needed a center for both our university community to connect to the community beyond. And I mean that in business, in nonprofits, in schools, and also for the community writ large to find a front door to come here to navigate. We are a regional public institution. It's part of our essence and our raison d'etre, for lack of a better word, reason for being, to be in and with community. And we did not have an accessible way, both for our university and the community, to sort of engage with each other. So we created this entity at the institution, and it's a university office. It is both a kind of community navigator office where we facilitate connections and possibilities between faculty and community, between business and the university, between municipalities and the university, all kinds of things. We also oversee a plethora of small and large scale initiatives that are community driven. So we are both a kind of a ops person, but also are kind of like a navigator of sorts. And it's unique in that we really have become, I don't want to say we branded ourselves, but really become literally a front door. If people don't know where to go, like a neighborhood group or a new business or a church or even an elected official, literally they will find us and then we will just maybe facilitate a connection to and for them. So that's kind of the essence of the office.
And so, if you had to define the mission, what exactly is the mission of Engage EMU?
Yeah, it's a hub. We call it a hub. It's a hub to cultivate and to foster connections and cultivate university and community collaboration, large and small. So that's really its mission. It's a cultivator and it's a connector, but the
Mhm.
cultivation could end up operational, right? Certainly. But yeah, that's its mission, is to do that perpetually. And sometimes we get one hit wonders. And
Mhm.
sometimes we get, I'm going to date myself, but both sides of the album, an A and B side, and we have it's a long term kind of program and record. Yeah.
I see signs all over campus. As you know, am also I teach over at the College of Business as well. And you mentioned an interesting comment. You said people are not exactly sure where to find you. Where do they find you? Where are you
We
located?
have a physical location, which is amazing. We are at the front of the university, depending on what you define front. We are on Cross Street. We are in Boone Hall, 203 Boone. We have a whole suite, but a lot of our programs are in communities. So we have kind of like a central office, which is pretty large, and we have a lot of our organizations. I mean, we have with our office, we have almost 400 plus employees that work
Mm.
in our area. That's unique employees. Those are students, those are employee consultants, those are vendors. But a lot of people are out in community for a lot of it. And then this is kind of a touch base for a lot of them. So we are here right across from Basil Babe Shout out to Basil Babe, the great restaurant. We're very excited. We were very excited when it opened up. And Sweetwater's, which, by the way,
Yeah.
I have my own drink because I'm there so frequently. We can get to that later.
Your own branded drink. So
Yes.
that's awesome. And so recently, you received a special recognition, the 2026 Carnegie Elective classification. Kind of talk about that. What is the designation? What does it mean? Why is it so unique and special for that part of the university?
Thanks, Mark. Yeah, I think so. I've been involved with the Carnegie since we first applied for this. So it's an elective classification by the Carnegie, right? There's already designations like is EMU an R1 or an R2, and EMU is an R2, a Research 2 institution, but there is an elective classification. And in 2006 or 7, they piloted this idea of do you want to be a community engaged institution? So in 2017, we became one of the first universities in the country to receive this recognition. And then initially, afterwards, we had to sort of reclassify. So in 2015, 14, we had to get reclassified. It was the first time we had to be classified and we were accepted. And then now, 10 years later, 2025, 26, we had to be reclassified. And I say it's equivalent. It's a self-study of our community engagement of over 10 years, over a decade. And it's rigorous. It takes almost a year to write and conceptualize. It's almost like an accreditation document, and people apply all across the country. There's 4,000 universities, 200 and I think 37 universities have received it. That's only
Wow.
6% of the entire colleges, private and public institutions in our country. There's only 5 in the state of Michigan. There used to be 6, there's 5. It's competitive, it's notable, and the university from administration on really believes this is who we are, is to be a community engaged institution. So we take it seriously, and we've integrated practices and processes across the institution to ensure that we can continue to be engaged in and with community in really intentional ways. So we did receive it. I was nervous. I'll be honest. I was really nervous this time.
Sure.
I was nervous, Mark. Just because there's lots of changes. We had
Yeah.
COVID. It was, and there's changes. We had offices that closed, different things popped up. There's changes to our student populace. But we had a really good team that worked on it. And we were able to gather really, I think, significant data that demonstrated our dedication to this, and we received it. So it
Congratulations.
thank you. Yeah, I feel great. I feel relieved
Yeah.
uh,
Yeah.
and feel honored that we continued this. And I mean, there's a lot of reasons why I think we were able to sort of keep it, but a lot of it is because we created this kind of centralized office, which was kind
Mhm.
of our gap in the last application. Yeah. So,
So it sounds like this is a very prestigious award,
mhm.
and we should be very proud as an institution to certainly be acknowledged by it. And you made an interesting comment a moment ago about processes that the universities put in place. What are some of the processes that have been put in place to really certainly reinforce the community engagement component, making sure that the institution at East Michigan University, EMU, is certainly engaged beyond the immediate campus environment? What are some of the processes that have been put in place?
Well, we even have like for Engage, for example, we have like a we have like a forum. If you want any support for the institution, whether you want to visit here, you want lab space, you want funding, there's a way in to do that. And that may not seem like a significant process, but that's like a way in to kind of figure out how do I enter into the space. So there's a way virtually and digitally, for lack of a better word, to enter into the space. So that's kind of a process. But from a faculty standpoint, we've continued to lift up and laud what we call community-based scholarship or applied scholarship, a lot of public scholarship. A lot of faculty research and creative activity is publicly driven. And we not only do we accept it, but we celebrate it. If you look
Mm,
at our Distinguished Faculty Awards, there's one for community and service. I mean, there's a reason why. If you look at our staff awards, there's one for community engagement. I mean,
yeah,
it is pervasive. It's part of our DNA. It
yeah.
really, really is. And, in our mission, we have this idea of local and global impact. It's part of our institutional mission. And we take it, I mean, I believe in it. I wouldn't be in this position if I didn't really believe we try to honor it. What does it mean to really be directed to have local and global impact? And I think that when we look at processes, we look at faculty scholarship, we look at research investment, obviously, we look at supporting faculty in areas of service, we look at the idea of this office and entity, right, which is obviously a big sort of investment in the institution and what we believe to be some of the most important things of this institution. So I think, and even if you look at like federal earmarks and grants, right, most of our grants are public based. Our friends down the block, Mark, and I mean University of Michigan, they're amazing, they're great partners, but they're in R1. And so their research dollars are really, they're tied up in, I don't want to say the intangibles, but the heavy research. And we are in applied, right? We're looking to solve directly a community problem. We're running programs in schools. We're running programs in housing communities. That's the kind of research and grant work we're doing, and that makes the difference.
Yeah, we have about less than a minute remaining, so I want to give you an opportunity to really say what everyone was saying in the last minute or so about the Engage EMU. How can people get involved with it? We can get more information as well.
Well, you can go to our website, which is www.emich.edu/engage. It's really easy to find us. We have different portals. So if you want to know about our community organizations, you can hit that, our community partnerships. If you're a faculty member and you want to know how to get involved, there's a whole list for faculty. If you're a student, so it's directed to different audiences because this office is for different audiences. I'm a theater person. So, we have different audiences, and we want to make sure that the office supports the various audiences of our community, which are people beyond the actual like institution itself, our faculty, our staff, and our students. And so you can go to that website and you can find a way in, and we will connect with you. We have staff to do that.
Now, you're going to hang around with me, aren't you? You're going to hang around with me?
That's what I was told. Yes, I'm double dipping
All right.
tonight. I'm double
All
dipping.
right. Well, we're going to take a quick break and watch a promotional video about all the great things that are happening at Eastern Michigan University. Sit back, relax, and enjoy the video. And on the other side, we're going to come back and talk about the Center for Jewish Studies at EMU. We'll be right back.
Welcome to tomorrow. Opportunity knocks to awaken us, asking who we will be. What will we answer? It's time to rise to discovery, to nurture what excites you, to work in tandem, to gain a deeper understanding of what connects us all and move us forward. It's time to test our resolve, to achieve every day in every way, to challenge every bit of what we believe we know. The goal, to become more of the most remarkable individual you are. The gleaming new buildings on this campus rise next to ivy-covered walls that remember. This university was founded on a tradition of the greatest discovery we can make together. Who you will become next. Eastern Michigan University. Be true. EMU.
A lot of great things happening on this great campus of Eastern Michigan University. I hope you enjoyed that video. Oh, I really did. All right, continue to sit back and enjoy. And Decky Alexander has been kind enough to hang around and join me for another conversation. Again, she's the theater professor and director of Engage at EMU. But we're going to segue and now focus on Center for Jewish Studies. Now, what I'm going to have you do is sit back and relax again and watch a video that does a nice job of introducing and talking about the great things about the Center for Jewish Studies at EMU.
The Center for Jewish Studies is this oasis that is unique in that it often services non-Jews, and that's what's interesting about it.
What stands out to me about the Center for Jewish Studies at Eastern Michigan is accessibility to both students on campus and community members around Washtenaw County and beyond.
But the Center for EMU reflects the community in which it lives and breathes and serves, which is a non-Jewish community.
For the past 10 plus years, they've offered great programs and experiences for people outside of those directly related to the university. The events the Center for Jewish Studies brings in through Eastern Michigan are events and programs and lectures that otherwise aren't part of what we typically see or experience. And to be able to find scholars or musicians or comedians or chefs that are in other areas that want to come in and share what they know to a larger community has been a tremendous boon to the entire Southeastern Michigan community.
I had a professor through the Jewish Michigan class who introduced me to the center when she introduced me to the undergraduate symposium and the Surf Fellow opportunity that I was presented with through the center. From there, I was able to get a $1,000 scholarship that allowed me to travel to Indianapolis for an annual meeting of the Theodore Roosevelt Association. I've always known that I was interested in history and political science really since about 8th grade, but I was really able to dive into that interest through the undergraduate symposium. I chose to study Theodore Roosevelt and his connection with the Jewish community, being able to travel to Indianapolis for the annual meeting, being able to connect with multiple people that have the same passions that I do was really impactful. I think support for the Center for Jewish Studies is really vital for both current students as well as future students and the surrounding community as well. And I think that no matter what somebody is studying here at Eastern, whether it be history, philosophy, religion, I feel like the Center for Jewish Studies can provide you with some sort of support throughout your time here at Eastern, and that's really beneficial support to have.
I took my study abroad experience to Israel. One of the parts that really affected me was actually standing on top of Masada and watched the sunrise come over Jordan and over the Dead Sea, and thought to myself, this is the same sunrise. These are the same mountains. The people of Masada would have been staring at day in and day out. And that moment was what I carried forward into my studies. What was really wonderful also about this trip is the fact that we took a class at Tel Aviv University from one of their professors. So we got to hear firsthand from Israelis themselves. It was also the immersive experience of understanding Israeli culture and Israeli university culture. You never know how studying abroad and the history of Judaism and this experience might affect you when you do it, but you definitely feel the after effects after you go, because it's not an experience that you get to have all the time. And in that way, there's this deeply embedded humanism that is both humbling and beautiful.
It is so necessary to show the breadth and depth of what Jewish study is here in the United States and also abroad. It's probably one of the most critical things and necessary things we do as a center.
It is so important to be able to provide a strong education to anybody who wants it. It's not anything that is replicated anywhere else.
And to have the opportunity to be in different countries, see different cultures, hear different languages, allowing people the chance to do that who otherwise wouldn't have that opportunity is such a great gift that we can give back to the students and that students can learn from and benefit from.
I hope you enjoyed that video. I learned a lot as usual. I always learn a lot doing EMU Today TV. This is why we love doing this. And Decky, I'm going to come back over to you and really we got a sense for what's happening with the Center for Jewish Studies. From your perspective, talk about the importance here at EMU.
Well, so I've been involved since its inception, and I think one of the reasons a center like this is really necessary is that it orients both faculty, staff, and community members to Jewish culture and life in really accessible ways. It's not necessarily a religious entity, but it's really the responsibility of an academic institution, I think, to provide learning opportunities to learn about different kinds of peoples, past, present, and future. And this is one of those opportunities. And so as somebody who's been part of the shaping of this particular center since it was for the last, I think, 13 years, I think it's really a necessary entity, particularly in this time, but to be part of an EMU institution. It's both an oasis for people on campus and an opportunity for people to access the campus and understand Jewish life and culture.
You know, and the beauty of EMU, it's a diverse university. It's a diverse community.
Mm-hmm.
I love the fact that we have all types of students coming together,
Mm-hmm.
and faculty and staff, administration, and beyond in the community to learn from each other. And I think you make an interesting comment, you know, in terms of, well, we certainly are living in interesting times. It's important that we continue to learn about each other's cultures and backgrounds, and we bring it into this academic environment. And one of the things that I have a point of personal comment here is I love the engagement in the classroom. I just recently had an engagement recently over the last few days, and we got into a very thoughtful conversation. I want to applaud my students, by the way. I'm looking at you to the camera. I want to applaud those students for a very thoughtful, enlightening conversation. And so I'll take that back to that type of conversation to what we're referencing here about the importance of the Center for Jewish Studies as well as it relates to in the classroom, people learning from each other and sharing experiences.
One of the things that's really cool about, I think, this center, there other universities have Center for Jewish Studies and different kinds of things. We have a really strong community advisory board. There are so many people from the community that attend our lectures, our presentations, and they're also instrumental in bringing that aspect to the community or bringing to the university as well, and bringing these kinds of really unique speakers and presentations. And is it like a responsibility? I mean, kinda. Kind of a responsibility, I think. I'm Jewish. Obviously, I'm not an academic in Jewish. I'm not a Jewish academic. That's not my necessarily area of expertise,
Mhm.
but I'm
Mhm.
involved in Jewish civic life. And it's important that the institution that I work at can create space for conversations around who I am as a human being, and who I am as a person. What else to me is the point of a university except to learn about people and things that you haven't learned about in this world.
Yeah, yeah.
It's really not,
Yeah.
it's somewhat complicated, I guess, in some ways. And I
But
think,
the university is a microcosm of life.
yeah,
Yeah,
totally.
and I think that the nice thing about this, the educational experience is just that. All of
Yeah.
our students come together. It's a microcosm of life, and you're going to learn things in life that you may not learn in other situations. You referenced a moment ago programs. Talk about the programming, the types of programs that will come to campus in this space.
Well, there's a couple things that I think the center does really well. They have travel courses, and they do some of the coolest travel courses. They have traveled to Israel in the past, but a lot of their travels are domestic. So they've done like Jewish Broadway and Jewish theater, right? So they bring a theater professor who's in Jewish, and then a professor in Jewish studies, and they travel together, and they go to New York, and all of these students go, and they get a sense of like Jewish theater, which is really has a lot of its like essence in there. And then they've done kind of like a Jewish tour of like the East Coast. They've gone to like Philadelphia and New York. So they're really trying to get a lot of where like the American Jewish experience has like originated in some ways in our country. So it's the idea that it's applied learning, it's learning on the ground, it's this understanding of people, a past and a present and a future in the actual spaces where people are. So I think that's really amazing. So that's one of the things. And then we bring in like speakers. There's always a lot of food. I don't know why, but there's like a lot of I think Jews like to eat, but I don't think, I don't think Jewish food's very good. I'm just saying that. So there's always like, they have like, there was like a, it was like a, it was like it was like an Indian and Jewish like food event. And like, there's just like a synthesis of somebody who's an expert in both. And they're coming, we have a Jews of color, which is a really sort of burgeoning sort of, I don't want to say study, but movement. 3 or 4 generations in, American Jews, they're incredibly diverse ethnically. They've always been incredibly diverse, but here
Mhm.
in America, that story narrative isn't told. So that's really a presentation that's coming up in the next couple of weeks. I always like the Jewish authors. I'm literary, and I love when we bring in people who are writers and talk about their work. Always inspired by that. We brought Alyssa Slotkin in. When she was a congresswoman, she's obviously our senator now.
Mhm.
And she spoke what it meant to grow up as a Jewish individual and how it informed her politics. So lots of different, from the politics to Jewish food, cooking, something. I don't think it's
Yeah,
cooking, it's just eating. It's eating. We're
yeah.
eating. It's eating.
Well, again, we have a couple minutes remaining, so a little bit longer than that. And I want to ask you from a student's perspective in terms of the response to the programs and the engagement. what's your feedback as they get a chance to do these types of programs?
So, it's interesting. So there's a minor, most of we don't have a large Jewish student population here. So the people that are coming, like you might go to another campus and people who are participating in Jewish like coursework are often Jewish. And here that is not the case. You have people taking a Holocaust course. And part of when we construe, this is important to answer your question, but when we conceived of this kind of center, and this is Marty Schickman and Jeff Bernstein and myself and Pam Landau, we really thought that, our students at EMU, they become teachers, they're social workers, they're police officers, right? They're in civic life. It felt important for them to understand, like, for lack of a better, us, right? If they're going to be part of our world, this feels like a responsibility to make sure they have a little bit of an understanding of some of the people they might work with and serve. So that's part of it. So the students, I think the students who go on the trips feel, we can read the testimonies. It's been illuminating for a lot of them and transformational. Certainly going with professors to New York and going to theater and dissecting that theater, meeting some alumni out there as well. So Michael Page, they met out there, and he was at the time that I think he received our alumni award this past year, and he was manager of the Lincoln Center. And he's an alum there, and so I think that it's
Awesome. Yeah.
world.
Well, as we wrap up, again, how can people get more information about the Center for Jewish Studies?
Well, there's a website. I don't know the URL, so we might have to type it on a little screen.
We'll have it on the screen for you.
I don't really know, but I know there's a really good website, and there's a lot of Facebook. And I know that might date the youngins, but you can access a lot of information on that as well.
But we'll make sure that, in fact, that we're speaking, the website is now underneath the screen. So thank you very much. Becky, I want to thank you for taking time out of your busy schedule for these two important conversations. You're the absolute best. We appreciate all that you're doing.
Thanks, Mark. It's an honor. Thank you so much for having me.
Absolutely. My pleasure. For all of you, thank you for tuning into this month's EMU Today TV. Stay warm. Yes, I'm here to tell you, spring's not far away, because you know what? The Tigers are starting as well. So spring's not far away. You all make it a great day, make it a great month, and we will check you out next time on EMU Today TV.